L.A., Reid once called Justin Bieber beautiful like a woman, and he meant it. Today, we're unpacking how Diddy's downfall is dragging his industry daddy down with him, and how new lawsuits are exposing the twisted power web that exploited Usher, Bieber, Cassie, and more. Which music mogul do you think has the most to lose once Drew Dixon takes the stand? Drop your take in the comments. You might just predict the next takedown. You thought Diddy was the kingpin? Nah, turns out he had a boss. L.A. Reid wasn't just Diddy's mentor. He was his personal PR team, financial plug, and allegedly cover-up king. He helped launch Bad Boy by connecting Diddy to Clive Davis, signed the checks, and then looked the other way when things got messy. And now, with lawsuits closing in, this daddy Warbucks of the culture is about to lose his empire because his favorite son just lit the whole house on fire. Drew Dixon isn't just another accuser. She's the industry's secret weapon. While Diddy's victims were silenced with NDAs, Drew did what nobody else dared. She walked away, took the Harvard MBA, then spun the block with a lawsuit. She discovered John Legend. She brought Kanye West into the building. She helped Whitney Houston cook up My Love Is Your Love. And when L.A. Reid assaulted her, not once but twice, she said, "Bet I'll take you to court instead of to bed." Let's be clear, this isn't a scandal. It's a RICO case for the music industry's soul. Here's where it turns dark fast. According to the lawsuit, L.A. Reid invited Drew Dixon onto a private jet for what was supposed to be a corporate retreat warm-up. No staff, no witnesses, just power and altitude. Once the plane door closed, professionalism allegedly disappeared. Drew says L.A. Reid assaulted her mid-flight, using isolation and authority instead of force. This wasn't random. It was calculated. Private planes don't have HR departments, and that's the point. Months later, different location, same predator pattern. Drew accepted a short car ride to play demos, thinking the driver made it safe. It didn't. According to the complaint, L.A. Reid assaulted her again, while the driver stared straight ahead like nothing was happening. That detail matters, because silence isn't passive, it's participation. This wasn't a misunderstanding. It was a system operating exactly as designed. Let's talk sabotage. Drew Dixon brought Kanye West, yes, Kanye freaking West, into Arista for a meeting. L.A. Reid let him sit in the lobby, then trashed Drew in front of the whole staff. He called the audition a waste of time. The man who gave the world the college dropout got left in reception. Why? Because Drew said no to his advances. That's it. Kanye was never the problem. L.A. Reid's ego was. Then it was John Legend's turn to get the silent treatment. Drew invited L.A. Reid to see John perform at SOB's. L.A. said he'd go until Drew refused another late-night music meeting. Suddenly he ghosted. No call, no show, just Drew sitting alone in the crowd next to an empty chair. Later, when she tried again, Reid gave her permission to schedule a label showcase, only to cancel last minute and tell staff not to attend. He didn't just block artists, he humiliated them to punish her. At 14 years old, Usher was hand-delivered to Diddy by L.A. Reid. They called it Puffy Flavor Camp, a year-long mentorship where Usher said he saw things he couldn't even process at the time. Years later, on Howard Stern, Usher was crystal clear he'd never send his own kids there. So let's do the math. If it wasn't safe for your future children, why'd you send somebody else's? Because L.A. Reid wasn't making music. He was manufacturing access. This next part, so twisted, it feels fake. In his own memoir, L.A. Reid bragged that Usher gifted him 14-year-old Justin Bieber. He described Bieber as beautiful like a woman and said he turned it on the moment he entered the room. Let's pause right there. This is how predators talk, and this is how the industry ignored it. A few weeks later, Bieber spent 48 hours with Diddy, alone, and he called it full buck wild. Drew wasn't just surviving, she was thriving. She had a Harvard MBA, a dream team of artists, and a plan to launch her own label. But every time she rejected L.A. Reid's advances, he slashed budgets, blocked signings, and made her pitch meetings disappear. He sabotaged the Kanye deal. He killed the John Legend showcase. He froze funding for Toya. The message was clear. If I can't have you, nobody can win. The second Drew's lawsuit hit, L.A. Reid pulled a digital disappearing act. He wiped over 10,000 text messages and just so happened to reconnect with the same driver present during the alleged assault. Then, that entire message thread vanished too. It's given. delete before the feds get a warrant is given, my phone knows too much. This isn't damage control. This is panic in real time. If you delete 10,000 texts, you're not clearing storage. You're clearing conscience. Before Diddy, before L.A. Reid, there was Russell Simmons. Drew Dixon first went public in the New York Times, alleging assault by Simmons during her time at Def Jam. When L.A. Reid found out, he didn't distance himself. He called Simmons and warned him. They weren't shocked. They weren't sorry. They were circling the wagons. That's not brotherhood. That's racketeering in plain sight. Cassie gave the coach a shock, but Drew is giving the court structure. Cassie's bombshell lawsuit against Diddy broke the silence, but Drew's case names names, cites dates, and exposes the system itself. She's not just suing a man, she's suing the blueprint of music industry abuse. And the timing? Immaculate. Because now every former exec, A and R scout, and mentor is watching their legacy unravel in legalese. In 2017, L.A. Reid was suddenly out at Epic Records. The press called it a mutual decision. Cute. Behind the scenes, he was hit with multiple harassment complaints, and legal warned Sony they had liability exposure. Sony scrubbed mentions. No grand exit, no statement from the board, just a quiet shove out the side door with a platinum parachute. They didn't fire him because they believed the victims. They fired him because they finally had to. Right after L.A. Reid's exit, what did the industry push front and center? A rebranded, clean-cut Justin Bieber. Hillsong Church apologizing on IG, crying in interviews. It was the redemption tour from hell. Why? Because his name was still attached to L.A. Reid. So instead of dealing with the rot at the top, they polished the product. A golden boy rebooted to distract from a tarnished kingmaker. Forget security, forget lawyers. The real muscle in the music industry? NDAs. For decades, L.A. Reid and his peers didn't silence women with threats. They silenced them with paperwork. You were either paid to stay quiet or blacklisted if you refused. And the best part, the industry called it standard practice. Newsflash, shut up and take it isn't a contract, it's a cover-up. Diddy didn't just go down. He kicked the gates open on the way out. Once Cassie's case hit, more than 8 lawsuits followed, and suddenly L.A. Reid's name kept popping up in footnotes and cross-references. It's like the NDAs lost their power overnight. People started whispering, lawyers started filing, executives started sweating, because this wasn't just Diddy's downfall, it was the demolition of the protection network. Diddy's crash exposed the whole pyramid scheme. Let's connect the dots nobody else wants to. Usher was groomed by Diddy, then helped deliver Justin Bieber, L.A. Reid's golden child, right back to the same machine. This isn't messy coincidence. It's a grooming relay. One artist becomes the next gatekeeper. One mentorship leads to another child star. They wrapped it in pop songs and reality shows. But the pattern is criminally obvious now. If this were any other industry, they'd call it a criminal enterprise. Multiple execs, repeat allegations, NDAs, hush money, and cross-collaboration between labels and handlers. That's not a failure. That's racketeering. Legal experts are already whispering it. If the Diddy cases uncover financial patterns or shared enablers, it could trigger RICO charges. Yes, the same law they used on mob bosses, and L.A. Reid would be front row, if not center stage. Now hold up, I want to know what you think. If this ends up in court as a music industry RICO case, who else should be nervous? Drop a comment below and name names. Let's build the real credit roll together. L.A. Reid didn't act alone. Every label exec who laughed off complaints, every assistant who scheduled closed-door meetings, every artist who stayed quiet to protect their bag, they were part of it. This wasn't just a culture of silence. It was an economy of complicity. And now, the silence is cracking, and the receipts are archived in text messages and NDA vaults. We've seen cancellations before. We've seen viral outrage. But this time, lawsuits are replacing hashtags. Testimonies are replacing rumors, and survivors like Drew Dixon aren't just telling their stories, they're rewriting the legal rules of engagement. Cassie kicked the door open. Drew is walking through it with fire, and L.A. Reid might be the next to fall face first in discovery court. So what did we learn? L.A. Reid wasn't just a tastemaker, he was a gatekeeper, a deal maker, a dream destroyer hiding behind Grammys and platinum plaques. But when the dream collapses, the truth gets louder, and now Drew Dixon's case may be the match that lights the whole thing up. So if you think Diddy was the end of the story, think again, because next up might just be the man who built the empire beneath him.